Hello everyone, my name is Becky. We haven't met. I have recently started a blog called beckysbookclub.blogspot.com, and I, for some reason, at 10 to 11 on a Sunday night in the freezing cold with a bit of a dodgy voice, have decided that what I'd really like to do is record a book review for you. I don't know why. It is so freezing right now. I'm on the south coast of England. England obviously is not renowned for its balmy climate. And I am in a blanket because it is that cold. And the heating turned off probably like a couple of hours ago, I don't know. And it's a little bit freezing. So excuse me for that. I want to review a book for you. It's one that I read recently and also have written about already, and it's called Remarkable Creatures by Tracey Chevalier, if you can see that. I had never read anything by Tracey Chevalier before. I didn't know who she was, but it turns out, according to the front cover of this, that she is also the author of Girl with a Pearl Earring, which was made into a film. I haven't watched it yet. I've got it on the Sky Hoojamiflip recording thing. I will hopefully watch that at some point. And really, I can't exactly tell you what possessed me to read this. It came in a bunch of books that my boyfriend's mum gave to me. And I don't think she had read it. I don't think anyone particularly recommended it. I just saw it. The cover kind of intrigued me. It's quite a nice cover. It's, got two, I want to say 17th century ladies, might be 18th. Even after reading this book, my history is not the best. It's got one of these, I'm terrible. One of these things on, which I should know the name of. I want to say Ammonite, because it's mentioned in the book like a gazillion times. And I should know what it's called by now, if I'd been paying attention. Sorry. Anyway. I was just a bit intrigued. I didn't read the blurb. I never read blurbs if I can help it, because sometimes they tell you everything that happens in the book. So I didn't read it. I just picked it up and I just started reading. Now, it was a bit of a chore, I'm not going to lie. It's not particularly thick, but oh my god. I'm sorry for how dogged it is, okay? I know that any self-respecting book lover would not deface their books in such a way, but I'm just not very careful. I'm sorry. I've been getting on and off of buses, and it's been in and out of my handbag and blah blah blah. I'm really sorry. Please don't kill me. Anyway, it's not very big. It's, it looks doable to me. That's what I thought. I thought, oh yeah, I'll have had that done in like 5 days. Easy reading. Yeah, not so much actually. Turns out it's a historical novel. Now, I don't know what your kind of preferred reading material is, but I tend to read a lot of fantasy novels. I like reading, about love and spying and adventure and magic, and all that kind of stuff. I tend to read for, escapism, one of those, and I like to read about those kinds of cool, magical or really adventurous situations that you wouldn't find yourself in. This is a bit too highbrow for me, really, because it's historical, but it doesn't involve any kind of war, any kind of like passionate love affair. It's literally just a thing that happened in history that is really important, but a bit sort of history lesson-ish, So I should probably give you a bit of a synopsis. I'm not going to give the game away because loads of stuff happens. I'm just going to tell you a basic summary, is that this book is a kind of before they were famous of these two women. If I was to guess, I would say that one without the hat is Mary Anning, and this one with the hat is Elizabeth Philpott. Yeah. So it's like before they were famous. Except that you're probably shouting at the screen right now like, who the hell are Elizabeth Philpott and Mary Anning? Who are they? Yeah, I didn't know either. In fact, until chapter 6, they were just two characters that a writer had made up. I had no idea that it was based in truth. And I realised around chapter 6 when I Wikipedia'd something in the book. Is Wikipedia'd a word? Yeah, you know what, we're gonna let that one slide. Wikipedia'd, that's going on the list of Becky's dictionary things that are allowed. So I Wikipedia'd it. That would get you crap loads of points in Scrabble, by the way, Wikipedia'd. If you had enough letters, of course, which you probably wouldn't have. Never mind. Anyway, I looked it up. I looked something up in the book, and I found out that Mary Anning does exist, or did exist. And then I was like, oh, okay, it's actually a true story. And then I looked up a bit about it and found out that yes, it is indeed a true story, or based on a true story, probably loosely based on a true story, given how much she's managed to write. I imagine she's had to make up quite a lot and fill in quite a few gaps. So effectively, Mary Anning is a poor, illiterate sort of young teenager from Lyme Regis, which I'm going to say is in Devon or Dorset. Oh, it might be Dorset. Oh, I don't know. I'm really sorry. You know, my geography is just as bad as my history. Anyway, it's in one of those South Coast counties. I'm sure one of you will correct me, and I'm really sorry if you're from Lyme Regis. And yes, I know I should know better. I will definitely put it in the description. And yeah, that's in the UK, Lyme Regis. And it's a coastal town, and what Mary Anning does is she collects curiosities, which is what they call fossils, from the beach, and she sells them to tourists. And Elizabeth Philpott, who's kind of like your typical sort of 17th century spinster character, she's probably in like her 30s, she's officially on the shelf, and her brother makes her move from London with her sisters to Lyme Regis, because he has to pay their rent, and the rent is cheaper if they move to the seaside. So he shoves them all off to live at the seaside, and she meets Mary Anning and also becomes interested in fossils, but with her kind of superior knowledge and education, she realises that these fossils are not just dead creatures, but they're actually the bodies of creatures that no longer exist. And of course that raises all sorts of questions about science and religion and what they knew at that time to be true. So the book really starts about 6 or 7 chapters in when Mary Anning finds an enormous fossil, which a rich guy buys and then flogs to a museum in London, which I don't think is open anymore. And then a load of scientists become interested in this particular fossil, and Elizabeth, as Mary's friend, tries to get Mary the recognition that she deserves for her contribution to science. If you're bored by that description, I'm actually not surprised, because if someone had told me, oh, you should really read this book, it's about like loads of historical stuff, I would be like, yeah, I don't want to, that sounds really boring. Proper snooze fest. I completely understand where you're coming from. But that's pretty much the negative out of the way. I realise that's quite a big negative, that the plot is difficult. But obviously that's a matter of opinion, and it really depends on what you're interested in. I mean, I'm trying to sell you a book about, effectively, paleontology, I guess. So if that doesn't interest you, then the book probably won't interest you. But it did interest me, or sort of, it kind of intrigued me, I suppose, because it's not something that I knew about before. And while it seems like there's a lot of book for not a lot happening, you know, they could probably cut this right down and have someone discover a fossil and then try and gain recognition for it. But what is remarkable, probably the saving grace really for me, was Tracey Chevalier's writing style. I mean, yeah, it did actually blow me away. She writes in such fine detail, and the amount of research she must have had to put in is incredible. I mean, I don't know how she had the patience. It must have taken her forever to write this, and I do feel a bit bad by giving it, you know, a bit of a rubbish review, because it means that she spent all that time writing it, and I've just gone, oh yeah, I could, you know, barely be bothered to finish it. Sorry. But her writing style is amazing. She writes in really great detail. The characters, like her character portraits, are so like finely described. They're almost Dickensian, really, you know, because Dickens had like that thing where he would just go off on one pages and pages of description. It's kind of like that. And, you know, Dickens was really acclaimed for that, so, you know, Tracey Chevalier probably should be as well. And I do find it really drew me into the characters, and bearing in mind it's hard to relate to characters who are from, I don't know, what, the 1680s or something. She actually did manage to draw me in, and her imagery is fantastic. You really felt like you were there. It was hard to connect with the characters, but you did feel like you were actually watching their memories being played out, which was nice. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about it, to be honest. It's kind of, it's one of those books that's like, I probably won't read it again. I certainly won't read it again for quite a long time, because I need time to forget it. Which sounds harsh, I know. But the writing style is really beautiful. I just wish it was maybe a bit shorter or a bit saucier. And that's it, really. There's not a lot else to say on that score. If it was up to me, I'd probably change the name from Remarkable Creatures to Fairly Interesting Creatures, you know, intriguing creatures. It does have a lot of hefty themes, and that's probably another reason why it's quite hard to get through. It does feel like bigger than it is to read, longer than it is, should I say, because it's, you know, it's kind of got a lot of themes in about science and religion and feminism and creationism, bearing in mind this is like pre-Darwin. So yeah, there's a lot of, you know, other isms which aren't necessarily comfortable reading and aren't necessarily what I'd call escapist. So yeah, I would like to know what you think about this book. Please post me a video response or write me a comment. I will link my blog in the down bar, which has got a write-up of basically everything I just told you. And if you can recommend to me any other of Tracey Chevalier's books, I would definitely like you to tell me if you've read anything of hers, or if I should read any other books in particular, because it hasn't put me off Tracey Chevalier at all. I think she's a brilliant writer. I just think this wasn't the kind of book for me, because it was just such a niche subject, and it just didn't really hold my attention, so it was a bit of a chore to get through. So let me know your recommendations, let me know your thoughts, and I will come back with another review or some other such silliness soon. Thanks very much. Bye.